So today we're going to talk about my fanning wax. Fanning wax is a substitute for fanning powders, and it's very popular in Japan and in China too. But I think a lot of Western countries and Europe, they don't know this exists. So today we're going to introduce it to you guys. So what does it do is that it allows you to fan your cards perfectly, and you can fan your card extremely slow. As you can see, it fans quite nice. And one advantage is that you don't need a lot of practice to get used to your cards. Even the lay people, they can open card fans using fanning wax. So it makes your fanning much easier. So I just apply a little bit of pressure and the cards will just fan out, and you can see every single card is very even at this point. So yeah, that's why I love fanning wax. This texture is different from fanning powders. You'll need time to get used to it, but once you get used to it, you can do all the slides, and you can do some very difficult technique applying the fanning wax. For example, this kind of technique is impossible with fanning powders, but it's possible with the fanning wax. So now I'm going to teach you how to apply the fanning wax. What you can do, remove it from it. It looks like a soap. Yeah, it looks like a soap. And you'll see there's a round edge and there's a sharp edge. Today we're going to use the round edge. We're going to use wax our manipulation cards. We have a piece of paper to protect the table too. If you're using your working table and you want to protect your table from wax, because once you apply the wax on it, the wax is going to stay there and it's quite difficult to remove it. So I use a piece of paper to protect my table. This will take more times than fanning powders, because you just throw them in the bag and shake it, and that's it. But the best way of applying fanning wax is do it one by one. So you're going to use the round edge right there, yes, and you're going to rub it on the cards like so. You rub it. You're going to do it straight like so. We're going to apply the fanning wax 4 times. So as you can see, I already applied the straight side, these 2 sides, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to apply the wax sideways too. Now this is my way of applying fanning wax. If you do not want the card to be overly waxed, then you can just do straight once, and then you can do straight like so. And you can see from the reflection, you will see the card is waxed. You can see the difference between 2 cards. Okay, maybe it's hard to see in the camera, but once you apply the wax, you can see it quite easily with your bare eyes. Okay, so once you have waxed it, and then you continue with all the cards. Now we're going to do all the cards. And now another way of doing it is using your hand like this, and you rub it on like so. But I find this method is quite tired, because it's gonna take, you have to apply a lot of pressure on it, and so I don't find this way very useful. Unless you have no table at all, then yeah, why not? Okay, so I've waxed a few cards. After you wax your card, you have to test it to make sure that every card is waxed. So you just press it, and if it fans perfectly, means it's fine. If there's one card which is not waxed, and place it inside in the middle, and you will see immediately the difference. You will see a gap right there, and you know that cards need more wax on it. So if your card can fan like this, and then you switch it, cut it, and then try it one more time, it fans perfectly. If there's some portion of it you're not satisfied with it, maybe this card is separating a little bit more, then you can wax it more, and eventually you'll get a perfect fan, applying the fanning wax. So this is how you're gonna apply the fanning wax. So after some times of using the wax cards, there's a chance if you're performing in a different area, or maybe drop the cards in your table or your floors, dust may stick on the card. So for some time, then you'll see there's dust on your card. Come check it out. Come check it out. Can you see that? Dust. You will see eventually there will be some dark dust on your card. Okay. This will not influence how you manipulate. The texture will stay the same. But if you want it to be clean, because the dust is not really visible on stage unless there's big dark thing sticking on it. But if it's little dust, then it's fine on stage. But if you really want it to be clean, there's one way. It's using a hard card, maybe a membership card or maybe a metal plate which do not have sharp edge. Okay, you must find some card which is with round edge, a hard card, plastic cards, metal cards, whatever you can find, and then you just scrape the wax off. Okay, you just scratch it off, scratch it, and then you will see the wax being scratched off. And once it's scratched off, then you re-wax the cards. And what does from time to time, if you scratch the wax off, some of the wax will stay there because it depends on how thick do you apply the wax. So once you scratch it off, then you try it. If the texture fits your needs, then you can keep using it, or else you can apply a new layer of wax. This is how you're gonna handle with some dirty cards. And you can control the thickness of the wax, in fact, because it depends on how hard you're gonna apply pressure and then how many times that you're gonna rub the wax on the cards. You can control the thickness by yourself. So if you do not want the card to be very thick, then you can just apply one layer. Once it can be fanned, it means it's enough. But some people want the texture thicker. So you can apply a few more layers of wax and it will make the card a bit thicker. But at the same time, the fanning texture is going to be different, so you have to try it out and test it yourself. So once you apply the wax to your cards, they will become kind of waterproof because the surface is wax and water can't penetrate through wax. So if you drop a few drops of water on top, the card will be fine. Just screw it off and then it's fine. But if you got water that goes from the side, because wax does not protect your card from the sides, so it will not work. So it's not exactly waterproof, but still it can protect from a little humid and it can protect itself from a little bit watered on top. So it's kind of waterproof. So this is the fanning wax. Hope you guys will enjoy it and try it out.